for fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 21 Ultimate Team coins, make sure you guys go check out my sponsor, U4GM Coins. Use code VENM at checkout for 5% off your order. Yo, what's good, guys? Venom Fire here, back with a video, and today I'm going to bring you guys my multiple D defensive ebook. So multiple defense is what I think is the best defense in the game. I'm going to be bringing you guys a full ebook on all my run formations and pass formations to stop both the run and the pass. Tons of versatility in the playbook. You see we got 3-4 odd, we got nickel, normal, 3-3-5, 3-3-5 wide, as well as dollar. So I'm just going to talk about all of my adjustments that I do. It's going to be on the longer end of the videos. But before I get into the video, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. If you're new, it'd be much appreciated. We are on the road to 10,000 subscribers. So multiple defense, it's one of those specialty playbooks, but again, it's very similar to Kansas City Chiefs. So Chiefs also has nickel normal. It also has 3-3-5 as well as dollar. Now, I don't remember if it has 3-3-5 wide or not. It might, but it might also not. I don't remember. But really the difference is 3-4 odd and 5-2, some of these other formations. But yeah, I just prefer multiple a little bit better. Again, I feel like it just has everything in Chiefs plus a little bit more. With that being said, let's come out in my favorite formation this year. My personal favorite formation, the nickel 3-3-5. I feel like it's so versatile as a pass defense with the adjustments that you can do, all the cross-manning adjustments you can do. You can get the safeties at linebackers. As you see, I went ahead through safeties at linebackers. I got Terrell Edmonds. I do have Devin Bush there, but he's so fast that he basically is a safety. We got another safety at that left spot. And yeah, you can just have a lot of DBs, a lot of versatility. I'm going to be going over both the zone setup and a man coverage setup. But I'm going to start out with the zone coverage setup. So what I want you guys to go ahead and do, here's a look at my just defensive adjustments. I keep auto flip on, specifically for 3-3-5 if you're running dollar, or 3-4 odd, or any symmetrical formation for that matter. Auto flip doesn't really matter, but for 3-3-5, I really like to keep it on so I don't have to flip or maybe I mess up. So I just do, again, these don't really matter. Ball and air defense, I do play ball and I turn my option D on conservative. What really matters is my zone drops. So I personally like my zone drops flats on 20 and curl flats on 5. That's what you're going to need them at for the first setup. But yeah, let's just go ahead, hop into it. It's going to be out of the Tampa 2 play. And again, the other play we will go over later will be cover 2. Now, I'm going to try and get through these setups as quickly as I can. So if I, go through something super fast, I do apologize in advance. But you guys got to keep in mind, there's tons of plays for me to talk about. So here we are out on the defensive end. You see I just came out in a base gun bunch. Again, I'm not really going to be focused on offense. I'm not going to be trying to cook up dots against my own defense. I'm really just going to show you guys the defensive adjustments and then try to move on as fast as I can. So just coming out in the play, I'm going to press my defense. I just always like to press my defense. It gives off a more attacking look rather than if I just reset the play. Now, obviously, for whatever reason, when that happened. All right, guys, here we are out on the field. Now, I'm starting out in the Tampa 2, and you see I'm just going against a base gun bunch offense. Again, I'm not going to be focused on the offensive end as much as far as just, throwing on myself, cooking up route combos. I'm more so going to show you guys the defensive adjustments and then sort of move on. Again, we got a ton of setups, a ton of adjustments, so get your notepads out. It's going to be a long video. So, again, all I like to do is pretty much press my defense. I feel like it looks more attacking. It looks a little more threatening rather than just leaving them backed off. I would rather go against somebody who always backs off rather than pressing. Pressing is just one of those things that's kind of annoying because I can't, quick snap a streak or whatever. But yeah, let's hop into the adjustments now. Now for the first play, what I like to do is just put LB in a curl flat. Now remember, we set our zone drops to cloud flats 20. So these cloud flats, even though they're pressed, they look like they're playing underneath. They're going to play 20 yards down the field. They're going to defend crossers, corner routes, post routes, all things of that nature. So we just need something to defend the flats now. I like to go with a double flat approach, especially against formations like bunch. So I'm just going to put that slot cornerback in a curl flat. Again, we have our curl flat set to 5. He's going to basically be the hard flat in this instance. And really, you could all obviously do that out of sort of a cover 3 concept, but I've just seen a lot. I feel like this defense is just a little bit more confusing. They're not going to recognize that the cloud flat's playing that deep. Maybe they try to fit in a corner route, which has happened to me, and then they will throw a pick. So we got the curl flat on the right. Now we need the curl flat on the left, so we will use this linebacker, throw him in a curl flat as well. If you don't know how to do that, you just double tap the D-pad to the right, press X, and push that left stick to the right-hand side. That gets him in the curl flat, aka the hard flat. It's going to be good against mesh post type concepts. It'll defend the out route on the left side, as well as any drags coming from right to left, slant routes as well. So that's pretty much it for the first setup. Now again, there's two different things you can do with your D-line. The first thing is you could just go ahead, pinch your D-line, and slant inside. The second thing is to just base contain. Again, it depends on if you're going against Dan Marino or Lamar Jackson. If you're going against a mobile QB, I recommend containing. If you're going against someone who doesn't have escape artist, go with this. Again, this instance, I'm not really going to be rolling out, setting up my player too much, so it's not going to matter as much per se. But here's a look at the adjustments. Really, the only hole out of this first setup is the inside of the field, which I will talk about in a little bit, how to stop that. But again, you see anything on the outside is going to be covered. We got a vert hook helping us over the middle of the field. Our responsibility is that left-hand side. So I'll just snap the ball. Boom. You see pretty much everything is going to be locked up now. Now that, corner route might have been open, but with a good click on, that should be completely covered. And if you kind of want to prevent that from happening, pressing probably isn't the best option to defend those corner strike type corner routes. So I don't necessarily have to press, and if I wanted to, I could always base a line press, which would just leave that corner all the way on the outside so he can, better defend those routes. But again, the play art stays the exact same. Here's a look at my play art. Again, I just feel like this is a little bit less threatening to where, they can quick snap a hitch, quick snap a table, quick snap a flat, whatever the case is. But again, snap the ball. Look at how much better that corner out looks defended. Obviously, late in the play, it might get a little bit open, but he will bounce back to the inside of the field, and you'll get a click on pick. Showing you guys the instant replay. I'm going to try and do this a little bit throughout the video. I feel like it helps out. Take a look at the right-hand side. You see the curl flat, which is this player. He's going to play his hard flat assignment. If he throws that flat, it is an instant pick. As far as this side, now the linebackers don't necessarily get out there as good as I would like, but it's really your only option out of 3-3-5. But you see them going. He's defending that. He might be a completion, but for what? 1 yard. Take a look at this deep C route. C route's very good this year, but look, he's just going to perfectly cut that off at the 20-yard mark. As far as this side, take a look at this corner out. Take a look at Joe Hayden right here. Playing that perfectly. If you throw it any time right here, it's an interception. Click on. Our safety's playing that well. In addition to that, and then you take a look at the hitch route, completely boxed, completely covered. And I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this play in particular because this is the play I run the most probably out of the entire defense, so that's just why. But again, either press or baseline press. Again, Joe Hayden's going to play corner outs better if he is baseline press, so keep that in mind. But one last look at the setup. Here it is. Very easy to set up. Really only two individual adjustments. Which again will help you out a lot. And you see the sheds can definitely be very good out of the formation, which is one of the reasons it is so good. And yeah, that's going to be it for the Tampa 2. Again, it doesn't really matter the formation, even if they were to, audible to a spread or whatever the case was, I could still press, put LB in a curl flat, put X in a curl flat. Again, the last thing with this play is pay attention if they have a deep post. If they have a deep post, you instantly run back with your user, you defend it. If you don't want to do that, throw them in inside third and move on from your day. User this player. Again, that's going to be difficult though because you really only have, one side of the field to defend. Now I have two, so it's just an added step. But if you want to play safer, this is the move. Again, you could always mix things up. Maybe you only want to rush two. Alright guys, moving on to our second setup of the video, and again, in the 3-2-5, and this time we're running two-man under. Two-man under, very popular this year. I've seen a lot less of it recently, but it still is a very good thing to mix in every once in a while. In my opinion, it's not an every down type of thing, because lately it's been getting torched a lot, at least mine has. But it's always good to mix in the one play, you get him running his zone beaters, you mix in man, nothing's really going to be open. So I'll just go over the brief man coverage setup. One thing I did from the menu is I changed my curl flats zone drops to 20 yards. That's the zone we'll be using. So if you're running man, then that's something you can change. If you don't want to, go back to the menu and change it every time, you can obviously turn the curl flats into cloud flats, and they will still play 20 yards if you want to leave the same zone drops from the Tampa 2. But let's move on. We got a press. As you see, this player is going to be manned up on the tight end. I like to move him over just a little bit. Again, tight ends more times than not on a flat route, so that's not really going to be an issue. But what I like to do in addition to that is I'm going to put this Y free safety in a curl flat, put this right of screen linebacker who's on the blitz in a curl flat, and then we're just going to be using Sean Davis right here. So you see everybody's manned up, 5 people manned up, and we got 2 zones on the field, 3 rushers. The last thing you do is you shade over the top so you don't get beat by Marquise Brown on that left side, who does have the leverage. You can also shade to the outside so that Brown won't have the leverage, and I don't know what it does in man coverage, but I think it helps maybe a little bit. But here's a look at the play art. Again, I'll just go ahead, snap the football right here. You see everything relatively covered, and if something were to beat the man coverage, really your only worry is going to be deep down the field. If they want to throw drags down the field, that's something that they can do, and then you maybe adjust to that, get an interception. But again, the setup, you're going to press your defense. You're going to put A in a curl flat, this A linebacker, of course. Put this free safety Y in a curl flat, and then go ahead, shade over the top. Curl flat's at 20 yards. They're going to defend corner out. It's going to defend pretty much everything. And again, the middle of the field is your responsibility. If they were to have, a skinny post on the field, something that beats man coverage, maybe a slant route you can lurk. That's what you're doing with your user. But again, relatively good coverage against every formation. People will find a way to beat this though, so don't run it every single play. I've seen people that like to run this every play. The people that I struggle against are the people that mix in man coverage and zone coverage. They give you the same look on defense. You see, this is the same exact look as my Tampa 2. If I were to just leave my user here, you would have no clue whether I'm running zone or man. And that's where people can really struggle against this type of a defensive concept. You see, geez, I just ran completely, committed a penalty there. But you see, corner out's going to be covered. Pretty much everything, streaks, everything you can imagine will be covered besides crossing routes, post routes, slant routes, and drag routes. Be careful of those, but again, you can adjust past that. So that's going to do it for 3-3-5. Again, I did spend the most time on this formation. It's my favorite formation in the game. So obviously, I'm going to go in order with formations that I run. But we're going to keep on the man coverage train. We're going to move on to the dollar formation. Now, I don't exactly have safety set up, but we can just sub them in right here. But as you see, dollar, I feel like it's better as a man coverage rather than zone. But again, it's pretty much the same thing as 3-3-5. All you have is one last linebacker and one additional defensive back, specifically cornerback. So I'm going to start out with the cover 1 Robert press. You see, I've ran that man coverage more than I did the 2-man under in 3-3-5. But again, it's going to be relatively the exact same concept as our 3-3-5. It's just going to be sort of the same thing out of a different formation. So what I'm going to do, again, you're going to put the blitzing linebacker. It's going to be this player. You're going to put him in the curl flat. And then obviously we need someone on the left side. We throw that free safety in the curl flat. Again, pretty much the exact same look. I don't want to, reiterate myself too much, but you see it's literally the exact same look on defense. We're down, boom, boom, whatever play they run, everything is going to be covered. Again, be careful about specifically putting that linebacker on the right side in the curl flat against a bunch because he doesn't necessarily get too much. So if I wanted to, the other way that you could run this is press, shade over the top, and then just put both your safeties in curl flats. Use this linebacker. Obviously, this linebacker doesn't have an assignment, and these safeties will defend the outside a little bit better than a linebacker coming from the middle of the field, especially with the bunch on the wide side of the field. Again, can lurk on relatively everything. And you see, look at the pass rush. Ravens, one of the best offensive lines in football. And you see, although the Steelers definitely do have a good defensive line, we're getting pretty quick pressure. So you pick up 3 good linemen, throw a couple of abilities on them, and you'll be fine. This is not a year of blitzing. It's a year of coverage. So again, throw both safeties in. That's probably the fastest setup I could give you. Again, shade over the top. I actually forgot to right there, but you see again, we're torching that edge protector, I believe. And yeah, pretty much the same thing as 3-3-5, but I'm not going to spend too much time on it. You sort of get it. Again, if I wanted to throw this linebacker in it, I could do sort of a cross-man adjustment where my things would look like this, where he's cross-man on the running back, but again, maybe a wheel route gets open when you do that. The only reason I would go with an adjustment like that per se would be to throw Edmonds here in the curl flat again. I feel like that's a little bit better than the linebacker, and then you actually get to use the free safety. So if you're too stubborn to move your user over to strong safety, that's something that you can rock with. But yeah, let's move on to zone coverage. I feel like zone coverage out of the dollar formation is going to be a lot more useful for you guys to learn rather than the man coverage. I've already dropped a video on this specific play as well, but let's move into some of the man coverage concepts. Alright guys, coming back out on the field, you see we are on the DB Fire 2 play. This is a very good play, pretty much out of any dollar type formation, dime as well. Now I'm actually planning on dropping a separate video on this soon, so if you guys watched until now, you're getting a bonus play that I won't drop until, probably a couple of days. But yeah, this is definitely a similar concept to the, nickel 335. What I went ahead and did is I actually put my cloud flats back to 20 yards, and I put my curl flats back to 5 yards. Again, if you're running zone, those are probably my favorite adjustments. So, dollar, you see, when we were running the man coverage, we had both our slot corners on the right-hand side. Now that we are in zone, they're separated. That could be a tell, obviously. But if, your opponent knows you're running man coverage, he knows you're running man coverage. So, go ahead, press your defense. Right off the bat, I'm going to shade over the top. I like the cloud flats rather than the soft squats. Soft squats play a little bit weird. But again, shade over the top. You got these two slot corners. We're going to use those to our advantage. Put them both in curl flats. And then use one of these safeties. Again, very, very similar. Almost the exact same look as 335. Just a different, coverage shell. And if you do want to run the same concept, it might not be the worst thing to go ahead and mix it in. Even though we are running the same play, we're giving him a different look on offense. And that might confuse him. But you see everything is covered. That deep pass. Again, if you go ahead, press your defense, that cloud flat's not going to play as far down the field as he would if I were, baseline pressed. But again, very quick adjustments. Literally all you have to do is shade over the top, press if you want to. If not, you don't have to. But shade over the top, put both slot corners in curl flats, and then you're good to go. So even if you're going against someone who goes to the line, spams, A as fast as he can, it's not going to be a big deal. You see, throw the corner out, easy click on interception if the flats that's picked. Really, the only way you can beat this defense is not going to be outside. We don't want people to beat us outside the numbers. We're putting our foot down. We're saying basically beat us up the middle, which is probably the best way to play defense this year, in my personal opinion. I've had people that a lot of these formations are built for the outside pass bunch, certain things like that, where you're going to force them to throw maybe a hitch on the field, do, weird stuff, get out of their comfort zone, which is really what you want to do against some of these best formations, trips, bunch. But again, instant shed, perfect backside adjustments. And I know I'm running the exact same play, but even if I were to mix in, I guess, clear out, SE out, maybe something like this, you would see that the coverage would still be very good behind it. So we'll just snap the ball, boom, maybe I lurk down the zig, then I can cut up top. And again, I know these aren't the best route combinations, but take my word for it. This is the exact defense I use to lock up every bunch player I go against. Again, I run that for one play. Next play, I run cover two. And you see when you audible to cover two, the corner won't be over there, so you have to press to get him over there. If you don't want him over there, you can baseline press, and then he'll just be over there, and your user linebacker will be on the tight end. But again, take that with a grain of salt. And again, the other way I would run DB Fire 2 is with a little bit of a weird man-up concept. So I would man-up RB on A, and then I would go ahead and man-up this player on B. So it's going to look like this, a little bit of a weird man-up concept. Again, we're assuming that A is going to the flats. The last thing I would do is I would man-up the left screen slot corner on Y. Here's a look at my adjustments. Pretty weird. Anything deep on the left will be covered. Anything deep on the right will be covered. Tight end's going to be covered on his flat. B's going to be covered on whatever post or slant route he's on. Even if he is on a corner route, that's going to be locked up. And then we're taking away the running back with the man coverage. Pretty much your only responsibility here would be X and RB. So again, not the best defense if I wanted to. I could just completely take everything away by running something like this. But again, that is a very risky concept. I could throw A on it. Again, you can get a little bit crazy when running or going against bunch. I've definitely been known to mix in some weird adjustments, but obviously you want to mix it up every play, give them different looks. That's what will really confuse them. But that's pretty much it for dollar as far as blitzes. This isn't the best blitz. It can work though. It's not the exact best, but if you want to give someone the threat of a blitz, this is the way to do it. You can also move this guy in every play, so it looks like blitzing. Maybe you get him to block his running back. But you see, pretty decent pressure. you get those contains out, he's not going to be able to roll out the pocket. So again, if you want to mix that in, maybe one play, you definitely could. With that being said, let's move on to our next defensive formation. Moving on to our next formation, I actually decided to go to the run formation, the run defense formation right now, because I talked about pass defense for so long. We will have a couple of other pass defense plays, but for right now, let's move into the run defense. We're in the 3-4 odd formation, as you see from my audibles, and the player running this out of his pinch dog 2 press. Now, this is a run defense I ran a lot last year. I haven't seen anybody run it, but it is very successful. Now, again, your backside defense looks a little bit iffy. So be careful about that. But if you man him up, the players actually move over. So that's not necessarily an issue, especially if you're playing a toter. So, sorry about that. My throat's a little bit dry. I've been talking for a while, but run defense. It's pinch D. So you saw what I did is I went ahead, base aligned Y, left stick to the right, and then I went ahead, pressed RB, pinched that left stick down, pushed that left stick down to pinch my defense. What that does is it presses my corners, pinches my D-line, pinches my linebackers, brings safeties in the box. So with the run defense, you're going to get on one of these linebackers, again, whatever side you think he's running to, whatever the strong side is. In this case, I would always use the right side, knowing that there's a stretch to the right and a dive to the right and a halfback zone to the right. So we're just going to run a stretch first. I'll try an audible to dive. I don't even think I have dive my audibles, but I'll try and mix it in. But yeah, take a look at Devin Bush. We're going to sort of hover here. So you want to hover. You want to get him with that one step forward. Again, it's not going to make too big of a difference. It definitely helps. So you're going to roll out, boom, cut over. Now, I won't say this is the best against I-form specifically, but you can still get in between the fullbacks as well. The Ravens don't have really any good I-form runs, so I actually couldn't pull that up, unfortunately. But again, you saw I baselined, I pressed, or I pinched my defense. All I did was baseline, pinch my defense. Again, really your worry here is going to be that wide receiver on the right. The way you prevent that, just quickly man him up to the receiver. He's going to move over. Now you have no worries. Again, you're going to hover here with Devin Bush. And again, I'm planning on making a separate video on this as well, this and the DB fire. So you guys are getting 2 plays early. But again, snap the ball. Be quick with your user. This is going to take a little bit of user, and if you actually can't do this, recommend going into practice mode, trying this out maybe before hopping into an online weekend league game or whatever the case is. But once again, base line, pinch the defense, man up that corner on the wide receiver. And again, you will only have to do that on the wide side. Even if they are in a middle hash, that might not be as big of an issue. Again, just hover here, stretch, easy blow up right there. Again, you should always have at least one budget linebacker, even though I recommend using safeties in dollar and 335. It's always super nice to have at least one player. So when you go to your run defense, you're not using snails on the field. But again, let's move on to just a simple halfback dive. Now dive, I'll shoot him in pistol, but I'll try an audible. Now dive, it is a little bit better. This is more outside defense, based. I actually can't audible, so I guess I'll just run the dive out of pistol bunch. Not my favorite play to show off a run defense, but I guess it will have to do. Now dive again, pretty much what you'll do is you'll try and run back because you won't know if it's a stretch or a dive. I really don't want to get picked up because that can open up a lane to the right, whatever. So they'll snap the ball, boom, you saw how I sort of backed up and avoided it. I'll go to the instant replay, but you saw again, Cam Hayward shoot absolutely free. I'm not sure if that was ability based or not. As I accidentally resumed because the menus are so laggy in this game. Jeez, I'm literally in an offline game mode EA, and you can't load my game. But take a look at our user. He's going to back up. Cam Hayward, I guess, just got an instant shed. But that's what will happen when you're shading. So take a look at our user. It's the one highlighted. He's going to actually go ahead and we're just going to back up. So again, if I just leave my user there, run straight, I'm getting picked up instantly. So what I did is I run back. That's going to pick up this player. Also, TJ Watt's shooting completely free. But take a look at our user. Even if Cam Hayward or TJ Watt got blocked, we're shooting right through that gap on a halfback dive. I know we did sort of get pulled, but that was only caused because Cam Hayward got the instant shed. If he was still being blocked, we would have an easy lane. I'll show it again here. Now, obviously, I would like to show this against a single back or I-form halfback dive. Again, I'm using what's in my audibles. I'm not trying to, spend 20 times audibling. That's just a pain for me. But again, base align, pinch the defense. Again, you're pinching everybody, and you're going to hover right here. Again, we will snap the ball. I'm going to run back, shoot through that gap you see. You're going to get a block shed. Even if you don't get a block shed, your user's coming free. And again, the only reason you see me get picked up maybe late is because Bud DeFree actually got the shed there. He made the play. Again, if everybody's getting blocked, your user's shooting free. That's why I said you get speed. Speed is really the only position or the only stat that necessarily matters when you're running this run D. But again, still very solid. 3-4 odd doesn't get used a lot, but I wouldn't recommend it necessarily against a passer and a runner, but against like a heavy toter, he's running the ball on you every play, under center, pounding the rock. Get in this, you'll get him out of that run quickly. But let's move on to our last formation. All right, here we are in our last and final formation, nickel normal. Nickel normal is one of the best defensive sets every year. It's a very sound base type defense. It's not going to be too flashy, but it's going to get the job done. So this is a very good formation against the run. I'm not going to talk about that, but it's good against inside zone. I dropped a video on that a couple of days ago, or like maybe a week ago. Make sure you guys go check that out if you haven't. But we're going to be talking about another pass defense out of the set. Again, this is another play I might even make a separate video on just because of how dominant it is. I know a lot of people won't watch till the end, so if you watch, again, you're getting multiple videos early from me. So take a look at our defensive play art. What we want is a cover 3 cloud play. I haven't talked about cover 3 cloud pretty much at all this year. Still a very good concept. So you see we got the cover 2 on the left, cover 3 on the right. Pretty much what I like to do is just pinch my defense again. I always like my D-line pinched in nickel normal. But this is going to be a very adjustment-based defense. A lot of the earlier setups I've talked about against the pass have been very simple. This one is going to be complicated, so I do apologize if you are not at that level. But again, this is going to be the type of stuff you have to do to beat really good players. So what you do is, again, I have my zone drop set at the exact same thing. I'm going to put B in a cloud flat. What I'm going to do is put A in a deep half. I'm going to put Y in an inside third, and I'm going to man X on X. So those are just the base adjustments. Here's a look. Really all I did was make 4 adjustments, all in my secondary. Again, if you practice those enough, you should be able to get those down in no time. And our last adjustment here is going to be manning up the running back, but we can't use a linebacker. You're going to use a D lineman. Now, the last thing you want to do is you could potentially throw this player in a curl flat. If I wanted to, I could always throw the safety and go like this, but I personally prefer it like this, where the safety is deep. Again, he's going to help on X on any routes, but really, this is definitely a risky defense. But again, it's going to be pretty solid, really, against all the same exact routes, and you'll see the sheds are going to be a lot better. Really, this is a good defense just against the run, so if you're playing someone like a slot or one of those formations, this is something I recommend going to, because if you're in 3-3-5 or dollar, they will try and tote on you all game. If you're going against someone in trade by flex, they're inside zoning you to death. This is something that you can definitely go ahead and mix in. And again, if I wanted to play a little bit risky, maybe I go with this, or maybe I just leave the middle of the field, completely wide open, and I play like this, where I'm just going to, rely on my user all the way deep. And again, I forgot to man it back. So this is a lot of adjustments. I will say, even for me, it's a lot of adjustments. But one last thing you want to do is shade over the top. Make sure you shade over the top so that that man coverage on the left won't get burnt. But again, even if I don't want to, I don't have to go ahead and put Fitzpatrick in the curl flat. Again, a lot of times the running back might be the only player going to the flats. If it isn't, they might beat you, for a big play. But if not, you're kind of wasting somebody, which is never what you want to do in this game. Every player is really important. That's why spying people is so annoying to do, because you don't want to waste a player. So I'll set it up one more time. Press the whole defense, be in a cloud flat, A in a inside third. Man up the running back, man up the receiver, shade over the top. And again, with this player, you could do whatever you want. I usually like to go with this. But again, it doesn't matter. And use this left screen linebacker. Again, you won't have to worry about the right side as much, so I'm sort of worrying about the flats here. You see the man coverage should do its job on that solo receiver. The solo receiver isn't very important. But yeah, it's pretty much going to do it for that play. Again, I'll just try and run the ball here. Let's run a sweep. You'll see that the run defense should be pretty solid against it. Boom. Shoot that gap, you see. Very sound run D. You got 4 down linemen. You got everybody pinching in the box. Should have 7 bodies in the box, so very solid against ace slot, those types of things as well. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Again, a lot of work is put into this prepping for this video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new, and peace. I'm out of here.